So I am moving on from talking about Scalar 3's issues that I have and going to focus now on some of the cool things I do like about it, which I think are not necessarily new things, but things that I didn't think about because I got trapped into using the same workflow with Scalar 2. And since I've kind of started reevaluating how I'm using it, I thought about some other use cases that might actually be beneficial to some people. For instance, now that Ableton, just as an example, has this chord thing where you can drop chords in or MIDI in and use the chords towards, playing them back with single notes. I thought to myself, that'll be good. We could just use Scalar and grab those chords and then just use that feature. Now, why is that feature even important when you could just play the chords straight from Scalar? Well, Scalar does not open in a push 3 standalone. So if that was something that down the road you were interested in, or let's say you wanted to use that chord thing so that you could play with your keyboard on your computer, then this might be an option that actually benefits you a little bit. But let's look at what I'm talking about. All right, so let's say you have some MIDI. So I'm gonna delete this so you can see what I'm talking about. Delete these chords. All right, so here's some MIDI. I'm just gonna grab these chords and then bring it straight over here to Ableton, and I'm gonna drop it. Now look, whatever I selected is in this chord range, and here's the chords. Really just that simple. Now you have the MIDI. Now MPC, you can actually bring in MIDI files like this and then use the chords. So this is a quick way to get a bunch of chords that you like into your MPC, which I think is beneficial for a good bit of people that are using the MPC at this current moment. Now, you can see these chords have no, they're just really the simple chord with no variation in the velocity. So one of the things in Ableton I really like is I can select all and I can randomize. See that? I'm randomizing the velocities of them. So now they go from, hold on, let me show you just this basic. Oh, there's nothing on this track to play, so hold on, let me put this there. To where if I randomize, now they have a little more life. So you see that? So now you can take these chords and put them into these MIDI chords and put them into whatever device you're going to use and start creating songs from using those chords. But now here's the other thing I didn't think about until today. For some reason it clicked in my head. For like those that are SP users or even Koala users who don't have necessarily, Koala does have MIDI, but technically we typically, when you use Koala and use the SP, you're going to work in audio. That's kind of the benefits of doing it. Not that you can't do this in MPC also, but we know in Koala and SP, that's the general use case. So how could this be beneficial? Well, I don't remember if this is in the previous version of Scalar, and it may be, but I just overlooked it. But let's grab those same chords. We're going to bring them down here. And we're going to go to this little arrow up here and export. So you can see all the features are here to export, where you can select the bit rate. I'm going to change that to 44 kilohertz. And then you can select the loop or the arrangement. Now I think the arrangement is the stemming, so it will stem it out. But we'll just go with loop. And the reason why I say loop, well, arrangement will give you each chord, I believe, individually, which is what you kind of want. But maybe just if you were going for a quick example, we'll just use loop. When you hit export, it's going to ask you to save it somewhere. Now I'm going to call it, I already did it earlier just so I can test to make sure. I'm going to call it chords test. I'm going to hit save. It's going to ask me to replace, and I did it. And now I'm going to grab this off of my hard drive. So it's right down here at the bottom. Drag it in and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now check this out. I'm going to go back here and show you something real quick. I don't have the humanization on technically is like I normally would do when I'm trying to play a chord in. Look at these chords. They're a little, it feels like their velocity looks a little different on each one. So I'm not sure if it's automatically humanizing the chord to some degree for you, but I dig it nonetheless. They are kind of right on the line there on the grid. So that's okay because we're not going to use this chord this way. We're going to take this chord. Now I'll play it for you just with a little drum track. Check this out. Sounds good too. Okay, so that's just dragging it straight to the line. Now what you would do is you would typically go in and you start cutting this up, right? Or you might send it to your SP or your Koala, whatever you're gonna do, and then you just chop them, right? I'm just gonna manually chop them real quick. And then you have each one of these chords. Now, the challenge here is this says chord test. So you don't know what this chord is, so you probably want to name the chord. And I would highly suggest naming it here because while it's easy to name a Koala and MPC, the SP is a little more challenging, in my opinion, for naming chords. So do all that in the computer because it's a lot quicker and you won't sit there and be frustrated. So what this means to me personally is that I could take and start building chord packs with maybe my favorite piano. Because if you notice, let me show you this right here. I put in here well, this is theirs, their felt piano. You could put any instrument in now that you want. So I could be like, all right, I want to go get my Spitfire audio and I want my cinematic soft piano. All right. I could make the adjustments, put the reverb on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this track. I'm going to delete it. Okay. And I'm going to go back and do this same thing I just did, but this time I'm going to put in some humanization with velocity so that the velocities vary a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to go up to here and export again. We're going to do it at 48. We'll do loop and we'll do export. Okay. Call it the same thing just for moving ahead and not trying to worry about so much of that. Replace it. That's fine. Okay. Let's see what it does now. We did that. We'll go back into here, grab it again. Now there's a little glitch here. I'm not sure why that happened, but let's just see what it sounds like. So see, it's bugging out on this when I turn on the humanization. So just for the sake of this video, there's still glitches in this. It's not perfect. Let's turn off the humanization. Something's wrong with the humanization stuff in general. They just need to fix it. All right, so let's just do that. Go 48, export. Again, go back and put chord test just to see if I can find it. There we go. Save, replace. Okay. And then we'll grab it again from here. Okay, that was fine. So yeah, something is wrong with the human portion. Upsie is still glitching. Yeah, we're getting pops and glitches. So I'm using this with, now when I did it with their plugin, it worked perfect. So this may have something to do with, there may be another bug with the using of third-party plugins. They're gonna have to iron this out. That's unfortunate. Let's try this. Let's go in one more time. This time we'll put it at 48, but we're gonna change the anti-clip to on and see if it I don't think this has anything to do with why it's bugging, but let's do this here. Let's switch back to the internal piano belt. And if it doesn't do it with their piano, then we know for sure it's a bug with using third party. All right, so we'll do that, export, and then we'll come down to chords, test, save, replace. All right, cool. Okay, so we'll get rid of this, and then we'll just go down here and drag chord test out. Yeah, it's something with the third party. Let's see, it's not glitching at all. So, and by the way, their felt piano and their soft piano, they don't sound bad. They're useful, but you get the point, right? Now you have chords, chord packs, and audio, and you could take these and start building from here. Let's do one more thing before I end this video, and that is, let's take scalar and go back in, and this time when we press it, we're gonna do the arrangement rather, I should say. And then we'll save it as the same thing just to be, so that we don't have to figure out where it went to. It's very hard to find in this list. So let's go here, replace. All right. Now let's see what it does when you do that. Chord test. So it looks like we got more chords. Interesting. So I don't know why they said the arrangement is supposed to do stems, but loop also kind of did the stems too, so I'm not sure why they say that's different. But anyway, it would be nice if it gives you the audio direct to the track where you don't have to do all this bouncing and exporting. That would be ideal situation, just like you can drag and drop the MIDI. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a way? Let's see. Now I can see that's still drag and drop MIDI. So I was hoping that, by the way, you can grab here. You don't have to select the chords. You can just grab this spot here and then drag it to it if you want to make it easy. Once they're down in your main track section, that's what you can do. All right. So let's do one more thing that I wanted to show you. And this has to do with, let me see if I can find it now. Oh, it's in here, yeah. All right, so let me go back out, get rid of this. Delete. All right, let's go back here now. So there's this one called Sketch. All right, what I like about Sketch is you can literally just click this little guy here. So if you click down here, you can see you can actually go through and pick chords. And if you've used this before or in the past, there's a thing called suggester, and that's exactly what this is. This is your suggester now. They changed the way it looked. You click here, if you like that chord, drag it down, and you'll see that the next suggester, you click here, it changes a little bit. They give you some different chords that might work. And then you can see that you can keep going this way. So if you click it again, it changes to the next set of chords they think can match up with that. So there, and then you hit it again, and you keep getting suggested. So that's one way to work with it. But I'm going to show you something different. That's kind of the older way that we did. Look at this up here. Now they have one here, and if you click it, it literally fills these 8 chords for you. And then if you click this one and this one and this one and this one, and you're getting all these different chord presets. You want to preview? You see it moving here? It's previewing the chord. So you can basically come up with progressions really quick. And you just want to stop it to that. So this means you could literally write a verse, a hook that sounds different, and maybe even a bridge by just clicking these little light bulbs and getting yourself some progressions. So now if you're kind of going through what I would call, I don't want to call it, it's not brain fog, that's a whole different beast. If you're going through a writer's block, sort of, so to speak, like you can't come up with the chord progression ideas, or you don't have chord packs, but you kind of want that, you just go right in here and click on these little things, and it's under sketch. First you go to this tab, then sketch, and then here. And there's other ones too, like colors has the different voicings. So let's see here. We can right click. So on the voicings, whenever you're under a current scale, I think that's what they are. They're just giving you those voices, and then you got options to change around. They used to have this, but it was in a different place, and it kind of didn't, I don't think it was as good as the way it looks now. It definitely is better with this. But this sketch to me is the best. I think if you just want to get random chords, which sometimes can be just extremely helpful when you're trying to build out parts to a song and you just kind of stuck. Now, I like to personally play with the chords individually and then come up with my own little combination. You can do that here too. So let's say you click that. If you click on this button, so see, I just playing the chords within that. You could also click here, have one set, and then have maybe another set. So let's say you click here, and you could go between them. See how now I'm having to use the mouse. They used to have a little section that was like green or something over here where you could switch these, which I think they still need to add personally. Because if I wanted to do it in real time, trying to hold the mouse and press the button at the same time can be a little challenging. So, I mean, it's not impossible, but it'd be nice if it was over here and you could just use one octave to be able, because this is only what, 8? No, not even that. It's only 7 here. Yeah, 7. Tripping. It says it right there. Progression 7. So you need 7 notes, right, to be able to do triggers to switch between them. And then you only have 8. So the next octave would be the 8. So I'm sure they're going to adjust some stuff. This is just what it is right now. But keep in mind, here's your current scale they're showing. And here's these progression ideas that they have. You can also add articulations, expressions, moods, etc. to your like strumming if you want these chords to be different. And then yeah. So anyway, this is something that I think it was in the other one to some degree, but I feel like they didn't have, I don't recall them having this idea where you could just click it and boom, it automatically generated all the chords. I could be wrong, or maybe I just never used it. But that's something I think that is really cool for somebody who It's kind of like wanting some assistance in creating, but don't want to use the suggestive portion, which is down here now, which is okay. But I love the fact that you can just click something and get it instantly and then just start building from there. It just makes the workflow faster. So anyway, that's my favorite features so far on Scalar 2. I do look forward to the moment where they can fix some of these issues, especially with humanize, because I use that more often than not when I want my chords to have a little more life to them. And I don't want to have to manually go do that when Scalar 2 still does all that stuff just fine. So anyway, that's it for this video. See you on the next one.